I'd like to start out this video by saying thank you for watching this video. Thank you for watching our YouTube channel. We've now had over 1 million views on YouTube. Please take a minute to subscribe to our YouTube channel and also to share our YouTube channel with others in the industry. And so it's interesting because this whole video came about because my wife and I the other night were just talking about and kind of celebrating the success of, wow, we reached 1 million views on YouTube. And we were just reminiscing about our old, my first few videos I did and way back. And one of the things we talked about was building a sales team and how difficult it was back at the beginning when we first started out. I was like full-time building the sales team for several months, and I'll never forget because we got our first residual check from our referral relationship that we had with the processor, and it was for the amount of 60 cents. 60 cents, less than $1. And I'd worked at it for probably 3 months, full-time, 40 hours a week. And, it was so funny, going, well, it wasn't funny at the time, but going to my wife, with like, hey, we just got our first paycheck from me spending the last 3 months of my life on something, 60 cents, Now, it grew rapidly after that, of course, and, recruiting all these salespeople. And it turns out I really didn't have a very good deal with the processor, as I learned later on the referral side. But one of the things that really did stick with me through all of that was building a 1099 sales team. It's time consuming, it's expensive, it's difficult. You really need to know what you're doing. And so today my focus has of course shifted over the last 3 years, where now my main focus is on software and training, trying to help all the ISOs out there to be able to recruit reps and activate them, and just really trying to help more salespeople in the industry. And through that process, I have found 5 reasons why you should not build a sales team. 5 reasons why you should not build a sales team. Now, these 5 reasons, I hope that you're going to kind of internalize these and think about them a little bit before you jump into building a sales team, especially in this industry. Number 1 on my list, a 1099 sales team is not cheaper or easier than a W-2 sales team. This is the core misconception that drives almost all of the problems in the industry, because if you do not have regular meetings, if you don't have occasional get-together face-to-face things, if you're not providing business cards, company emails, training courses, software tools, pipeline management, if you're not providing all of these things along with coaching and mentoring and all the things you would do for employees, if you're not providing that to your 1099 sales team, basically you're just playing the numbers game and trying to recruit a lot of people, throw them up against the wall, see what sticks, and see if maybe we'll get some sales. No, you're probably not going to get very many sales, because building a 1099 sales team is not any cheaper or any easier. It's still very time consuming if you do it right. And so these other 4 reasons are really predicated on this first one. Make sure you're not looking for the easy button, because if you're like, I'm going to build a 1099 sales team because it's so easy, you just hire, you just randomly bring people on, you throw them out in the field, see what happens. If you're looking for the easy button, do not start a sales team. Number 2, the more experienced, easy sales reps are going to produce very low profit margins for you. If you're thinking about building a merchant services sales team, you might say, well, James, I understand your first point. Of course, getting all these green reps that are 1099, that's really difficult. I've got to train them and everything. So the solution is I'm going to recruit experienced merchant services sales professionals who are already doing 10, 15 deals a month, and I'm going to bring them onto my team. That'll be easy. Well, there's a couple problems with that. Number 1, it's not easy to recruit those types of reps or even to find them, number 1. Number 2, if you do recruit them, they want to get paid a lot of money, and now you're competing with all of the mega ISOs out there with their huge residual splits and upfront bonus programs and free terminals and all of that. And so they're going to produce really low margins if you get somebody on board that's doing 10, 15, 20 deals a month without you having to do a lot of coaching and things like that. So keep that in mind. You might think that's your solution. It's probably not your solution. Number 3, you personally could probably outsell your first 10 recruits. You personally can probably outsell your first 10 recruits, and that's even if you're doing it right and you're really helping them out. Here's one of the most frustrating things, and I personally hit this wall myself. I mentioned at the beginning of the video the 60 cents I earned and all that. That's when I really hit this wall of like, wait a second. I built this team up that's now doing, at that point we were doing about 60 deals a month. And, it was crazy because I'm like, wow, I personally was doing like 20 deals a month when it was just me. And when I had my first 10 recruits, we were doing about 15 deals a month because I was only getting 3 or 4 of them to sell, and they weren't selling that many. and I'm only getting a tiny percentage of the profit versus before when I was selling 20 deals a month, I was getting all the money from it. And I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. So here's the thing you need to understand about building a team. Unless you're planning to go pretty big with your team and really build a good sized team and go after it like a business, it's really not worth it, because if you're like, well, I'm still going to sell and then I'm going to have a few reps over here on the side, the problem with that is those few reps on the side are going to take half your time, and you could probably outsell your first 10 recruits. So keep that in mind when you're looking at your business model. Make sure you're mapping this out and understanding, where do I actually need to get to in order to really make money at this particular business and make more money than I would make if I was just out there selling all by myself. Number 4, if you only pay for results in this industry, you probably won't get any. If you only pay for results, you probably won't get any. What do I mean by that? I personally believe that the biggest opportunity today for innovation in our segment of the payments industry is not EMV, it's not, technology, whatever. The biggest opportunity for small to medium ISOs right now to innovate is in the area of agent compensation. Agent compensation. What do I mean by that? You basically have 3 options in this industry when you're paying reps. You can pay straight commission to experienced bank card reps who expect to get paid straight commission, right? So that's option A. Now you can look back to issue number 2, which is that's going to be really low margins, right? So what's your second option? Well, your second option is you can pay straight commission to newer reps coming into the industry, green reps. Now, if you do that, you have to understand that the reps you're going to attract with that straight commission are either reps who are very green, have no sales experience, maybe no sales ability at all, and they weren't able to even find a quote-unquote real job, so they've settled for working for you for straight commission. Or you may get some reps that, again, are from another straight commission industry that are coming over. But again, it kind of begs the question of, why are you coming over in the first place? Now, are there some good reps in that group? Of course there are. But what I'm saying is the odds are that a very, very tiny percentage of those reps are actually going to be really good additions to your team. Because you're paying straight commission, that just does not attract a lot of top talent from other industries who are already doing well in that industry. And people tell me this all the time, well, James, but these reps that are in other industries that are on straight commission, if they're really good and they're making a lot of money, they see the opportunity. No, if they're really good making a lot of money, usually they stay with what they're doing because they're really good and they're making a lot of money. Now there's exceptions to the rule, of course. Mortgage industry, when it got regulated, we had a lot of reps come over to our industry, and that stuff does happen. But I'm saying, again, I'm not trying to say there's no good reps out there. I'm saying that on average, the kind of reps you're going to attract, the majority are going to be reps who are very green and can't find a real job, and that's not really who you want. So what's the other option? Well, option number 3 is to pay for both results and work. Pay for results and work. Now, I'm not going to give you a ton of specific examples here, but I'll give you a couple just quick high-level ideas. What if you pay the reps a weekly draw of $200 for their first 4 weeks that came out of their upfront commission or even their residuals long term, right? What if you did that and in exchange you required them to walk into 20 businesses a day, 30 businesses a day, right? But they had that draw. What if you paid them $3 for every business they walked into that they gave your TriFold brochure to, as long as they put the information in the CRM database about that business, so you could spot check and make sure they're actually out there working? Because see, the big variable here is, many of you know how to find good salespeople. I do. I think many of you do. You know how to call and find a good salesperson on the phone. Even talking to them, you're like, this person knows how to sell. So what's the variable? Why are we still losing 85% of the reps that come into the industry? The reason is because they're not working. They're not going out in the field and working. Why are they not going out in the field and working? Because they have to pay their rent, and they have to pay their electric bill, and they have to pay their car payment. So in addition to trying to work with you, they're also still looking for a real job, and they're out there trying to do anything else they can do to earn money. And so if you can fill that need and even give them just a little bit of cash and a little bit of opportunity to say, hey, there's a guaranteed $300 at the end of this week if you do X, Y, and Z, that is going to have a huge impact. So let me challenge you in that area. I think it's time for our industry to have a massive overhaul in terms of compensation specifically for green reps that come in, because they don't care. They don't even know what a Schedule A is. They don't even understand these concepts of like everybody in the industry. Well, we do paid on activation unless you do over this amount of volume, and then paid on approval, and then we have residual based on your Schedule A. And a green rep is like, So what do I do to make $200 this week? What do I do to make $300 this week? They have no idea what you're talking about. Simplify. Make a different program, something that's going to help them out. So that's number 4. Finally, number 5, in order to build a sales team, you have to know how to sell. What a novel concept. Several years back, I was working with this ISO and building the sales team with them. And I had this sales rep that I thought was really going to do great. It was somebody who I knew had the sales experience in the background, but newer to this industry. And he wasn't making any sales. And so I called him up one day. I'll never forget. I actually remember even where I was driving when I had the conversation because it was such a shock to me. And I'm talking to this individual and I'm like, what's going on? He's like, well, I'm using this pitch. And I got this pitch from this support person at the processor that I was working with. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. I was like, what's the pitch? He's like, well, I'm saying this and this and this. And I was like, that is the worst pitch I've ever heard. Well, of course you're not making any sales. That doesn't work. Like, let me explain how to do it. And so I explained another pitch to him and how to, get out there. And so I followed up with the processor and I called and I'm like, hey, I got this really weird conversation today that so-and-so in your support department was giving a opening pitch script to one of my reps. And maybe I misunderstood. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm sure this person has gone out in the field and sold merchant services in the past. No, they've never made any merchant services sales, but they just really like to help out. They like to help out. And, and I'm just like, I was so amazed that they had this concept in their mind that I'll never forget what I told them. I paused for a second and then I said, that's like me going down to the hospital, volunteering to do heart transplant surgeries because I want to help out. I'm going to kill people. That's not helping. I have no idea I don't know how to do a heart transplant, so I can't go do one. If somebody's never made a sale, you don't help out by giving people a sales pitch. You don't have any idea what you're talking about. Hello? How stupid is this? Well, I thought that was an isolated thing, but lo and behold, it's not. As I get out in the industry and consult for processors, many times with these ISOs, the problems that they run into, it's like, we're just not making any sales. We don't know what the problem is. And I'm like, okay. So I talk to the salespeople and I'm like, they have no idea how to sell. They don't know how to rebuttal objections. They don't know the pitch. They don't know, who's training them? Oh, well, Bob trains them. Oh, okay. So was Bob like a top sales rep? No, we hired him from the insurance industry and I don't really know how he was doing there, but we just brought him right in to start training our reps. So Bob's never made a merchant services sale? Well, I think he made one, and you're like, what? Look, if you're going to build a sales team, you got to know how to sell. And unfortunately, even when you do know how to sell, a lot of salespeople look at the sales team as their kind of way out of sales. No, if you want a way out of sales, go get another job in something unrelated to sales. Don't start a sales team. A sales team is like, you got to know how to sell times 10, because now you've got to know how to train people how to sell. You got to go out in the field and let them watch you sell. You got to let them listen to you on the phone and hear you sell. You're going to be sales every single day, and that's what building a sales team is really all about. Now, I believe in building 1099 sales teams. I think it can be incredible. I know it can be incredibly profitable. I've made tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars building 1099 sales teams in merchant services. And now that my focus has shifted to software and training, my goal is to help more of you build that profitable 1099 sales team. So make sure you check us out. Go to ccsalespro.com, go to instantquotetool.com, check out the resources that we have, and feel free to email me. I would be glad to spend 5 or 10 minutes on the phone with you, give you some tips for free in exchange for letting me pitch you on the software and training that we have for ISOs. Just email james@ccsalespro.com. Thanks so much for taking time to watch this video. Have an awesome day, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And please, if you enjoyed this video, share it with others in the industry.